Most people think the iPhone 18 Pro Max is going to be boring, same shape, same Apple routine, but that assumption is exactly why this phone is dangerous. Because Apple didn't redesign the iPhone this year, they repositioned it. And once you see what they're actually doing here, you'll understand why the iPhone 18 Pro Max isn't built to impress you on day one. It's built to quietly win over the next 3 years. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll see why this is the most calculated iPhone Apple has ever made and why most people are completely misunderstanding it. Welcome back. If you're new here, I don't just repeat leaks, I connect patterns. I look at what Apple changes, what it doesn't, and what that combination tells us about where the iPhone is really heading. And today we're breaking down the iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks, from the design choices that look small but aren't, to the internal upgrades Apple knows most people won't notice right away, and the one strategic move that tells us exactly who this phone is for. Let's start with the first thing everyone complained about as soon as the leaks dropped. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is getting slightly thicker and slightly heavier, about 243 grams. On paper, that sounds like Apple moving backward. But this is where context matters. That extra weight isn't wasted, it's invested. Apple is prioritizing battery life again, and not in a marketing slide way, in a real structural way. Think about it like this. For years, Apple chased thinness because thin sold well in stores, but thin doesn't age well. Thin phones throttle, thin phones heat up, thin phones die early. And after the mixed reception to ultra-thin models recently, Apple finally seems to have accepted what users have been saying quietly for years. We don't want thinner. We want better battery, better thermals, better consistency. And once you accept that decision, everything else about the iPhone 18 Pro Max starts to make sense. That extra internal space doesn't just mean a bigger battery. It means better heat dissipation. It means more stable performance. It means the A20 Pro chip can actually stretch its legs instead of constantly pulling itself back to stay cool. And that brings us to the front of the phone, because this is where expectations need to be managed. The dynamic island isn't going away, but it is shrinking. Apple is testing a smaller punch hole layout that pushes the display even closer to true edge-to-edge. Under-display Face ID has been prototyped, but according to the most reliable reports, it's not ready yet. And honestly, that tracks. Apple does not ship half-baked biometrics. They'd rather wait, refine, and drop it when it's invisible and flawless. So instead of chasing a headline, they're polishing the experience. And this is one of those changes you won't appreciate in photos, but you will feel every single day. More screen, less obstruction, less visual noise. It's subtle, but subtle is Apple's favorite weapon. Now flip the phone around, because this is where things stop being subtle. Camera upgrades on the iPhone 18 Pro Max are not playing it safe. The current leaks point to a triple camera system with a 48 megapixel main sensor featuring variable aperture, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 64 megapixel periscope telephoto offering up to 10 times optical zoom. That alone puts Apple back into aggressive territory. But here's the part most people skipped over. Apple is reportedly testing a stacked 200 megapixel sensor internally. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but Apple doesn't casually test sensors like that. This tells us they're future-proofing their imaging pipeline. Even if the 18 Pro Max doesn't ship with 200 megapixels, it's being designed to handle that class of data. And this is where the conversation shifts from photography to computation. Apple isn't chasing megapixels for spec sheet flexing. They're pairing these sensors with new AI-powered video tools, improved low-light HDR, and significantly faster image processing through the upgraded neural engine. Translation: cleaner footage, less noise, better motion handling, and video that looks finished straight out of the camera. Well, if you've ever recorded a video, looked at it, and thought, why does this not look how it felt? This is Apple trying to close that gap. And that brings us naturally to performance because this is the foundation everything else sits on. Every iPhone 18 model gets the A20 chip, but the Pro and Pro Max get the A20 Pro built on TSMC's 2 nanometer process. That is a massive efficiency leap. Smaller node, better performance per watt, lower heat, longer sustained output. This isn't about benchmarks. This is about your phone feeling fast in year 3, not just week 1. And for the first time in a long time, Apple is reportedly leveling the RAM playing field. All iPhone 18 models are expected to ship with 12 gigabytes of RAM. That matters more than most people realize. More RAM means better multitasking, longer software longevity, and smoother performance as apps get heavier and more AI driven. If this part surprised you, drop a like here, because this is one of those changes that quietly affects everything. Connectivity is also getting a meaningful refresh. Apple's new C2 modem is expected to improve power efficiency and reliability, alongside Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6.1 testing. These aren't features you brag about, but they're the difference between a phone that feels dependable and one that constantly annoys you in small ways. Fewer drops, faster handoffs, better battery efficiency in real-world use. Now let's talk strategy, because this is where Apple reveals its hand. Leaks suggest Apple may stagger the iPhone 18 launch, Pro and Pro Max first, standard models later. That's not a logistics issue, that's a narrative decision. Apple is concentrating attention on its most premium devices, letting hype compound instead of splitting it. It also pushes more buyers toward higher margin models during peak demand. In other words, Apple isn't just launching phones anymore, they're launching phases. Design-wise, Apple is pulling back from experiments. Early rumors of a translucent rear panel appear to be scrapped. Instead, Apple is moving toward a unified, single-color design where the rear glass matches the frame, clean, minimal, safer. And new colors are being tested, including a deep burgundy, a brown, and a bold purple. Only one is expected to make the cut. I'm genuinely curious. Which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments, because this is where personal taste actually matters. Stepping back and looking at the full lineup, the picture becomes clear. The standard iPhone 18 is a solid, balanced option. The iPhone 18 Air exists for people who want lightness and design, but the Pro Max, that's Apple's long-term phone. The one built for people who don't upgrade every year. The iPhone 18 Pro Max packs a massive 6.9-inch LTPO display, up to 2 terabytes of storage, a huge battery pushing past 5,200 milliamp hours, faster charging, and hardware designed to stay relevant for years. This is not a flashy iPhone, it's a durable one. And that's the real takeaway. If you're on an iPhone 17, Apple isn't begging you to upgrade, but if you're on an older device or buying your first flagship, this is where the value stacks up. Better battery, better cameras, better longevity, and a design that won't feel dated anytime soon. We're still far from the September 2026 launch, and more leaks will absolutely surface. And when they do, we'll break them down properly without the noise. If this video helped you see the bigger picture, hit the like button so YouTube knows this is worth pushing, and tell me in the comments what change matters most to you. And if you want to stay ahead of every major Apple leak as it happens, subscribe, because this story is just getting started. See you next one. Peace out.